Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at weather next week, 10 days for today's video. It looks like we're going to be getting cold again next week. So I've been talking about this quite a bit recently in the videos. It looks like we're going to have cold weather for Easter, and it's just a matter of how cold it's going to get and whether there's going to be any snow. But I think we are going to get another spell of pretty cold weather coming up through the course of next week. So if you're fed up with this ongoing sort of extended very late winter, there's no sign of an end to it, certainly before Easter anyway, so I'll talk you through all the detail in a second. But expect more frost next week, expect more ice, and certainly the risk anyway of more snow as well. So I'll talk you through everything that's going on with that in today's video. Just say there will be the third Easter update, the full Easter update. This video goes to Easter, but we won't look in depth particularly. But the third Easter update will be with you tonight around 7 o'clock this evening, 6, 7 o'clock, something like that. So third Easter update will be coming along later on today. I'm on the website to start off with of metcheck.co.uk because I said a couple of days ago I was finalising the details on a competition, and the details are now in place. We are going to be running a competition at Gazavis next week. Going to start on Sunday and it's going to go through to Easter Sunday. So we're going to run it for a week from Sunday through to Sunday in association with metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation. I won't tell you about the prize yet. I'm going to leave that for another day or so. But I will tell you probably on Saturday at Solar Weekend Forecast what the prize is that we're going to be giving away. And then the competition will begin on Sunday. But get ready for it. It's a fantastic prize, and you'll be able to see more about that in the subsequent videos in association with metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation. So exciting times coming up with a bit of a spring sort of promotions competition next week starting on Sunday. Watch your space about that. So we're going to begin for our week to 10 day video update. Have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the Penn State University website. We've got the E70F here on the top, and the GFS, which have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 8,000 feet is an area in the atmosphere. High pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Red extrapolates to high pressure, and blue extrapolates to low pressure. So these are the mean flow charts for the 7 to 10 day time frame, and we see that with the E70F, we've got this big ridge here through the Atlantic. Never a particularly good sign at this time of year when you see ridging through the Atlantic going up towards Greenland, and then underneath it we've got this deep trough of low pressure around sort of the northwest of Europe and even in Central Europe as well, which means with jet stream we're doing something like that. We're being placed on the cold side of the jet again, as we have been so often this winter, particularly since we had that stratospheric warming at the beginning of February, which I don't think we've recovered from. I don't think we've unravelled from that yet. We're still being influenced by that sudden stratospheric warming that happened at the start of February. And so, again, we find ourselves in the 7 to 10 day time frame, which is going to take us just to the start of April. We find ourselves in a cold setup with blocking to the north and northwest, and low pressure down to the south and to the southeast as well. We pull the cold air into that trough via the north and the northeast, so it just looks pretty cold and potentially quite wintry too. That's the E70F. This is for GFS. We've got both models sort of in line with one another now. So again, we've got this deep trough over and to the east of the British Isles. We've got a blocking feature through the Atlantic and stretching up towards Greenland as well. This ridge down here across southern and southeast Europe, that's going to pull some quite hot air, or warm air anyway, out of North Africa and push it in towards the southeast of Europe. So maybe somewhere like Greece, if you want some warmth for Easter, somewhere like Greece could be the place to go. I think it might turn quite warm, maybe a little bit hot down there through the course of the 7 to 10 day time frame, which takes us to Easter. But for us, no thoughts about that, because again, we remain on the cold side of the jet. Look at this, we'll be doing something like that with the flow and with the jet stream. So again, we're pulling down cold air into that trough. It's potentially quite wintry, the weather that we've got going on there as well. So it's not looking like a terribly good Easter, I have to say. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles. We're looking at Walsall today in the Midlands. Someone has asked me to have a look at Walsall. So again, red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Walsall in the Midlands. A little bit above average at the moment, but over the next few days, we're going to go close to average, really, with those temperatures. A little bit warmer again. Just to start next week, but it's not going to last very long. Then after that, looks like we go pretty cold really as we get towards Easter. That's this period just here. Temperatures going, upper air temperatures anyway, going quite significantly below average. And there are some really quite cold ensemble members showing up once again, with several ensemble members getting close to -10 at 850 HPA, which is unusually cold air for sort of the end of March into the start of April. In terms of precipitation, so we've got increasing amounts of rainfall coming up over the next few days. It will be turning more unsettled, especially into the early part of next week. And then as it gets colder later on next week, probably goes a bit drier as well, but not completely dry. As it goes colder, there may be the risk of some wintry weather coming along as well. This is how the surface temperatures are looking at Walsall. So again, we start off at around 10 degrees Celsius just there. That's freezing, by the way, there. That's +20, which we can sometimes reach at this time of the year. By late March, early April, we can sometimes, or we have done, seeing the temperatures reaching 20 degrees, close to 70 Fahrenheit. We're not going to be doing that in the foreseeable future, however. This is -10, which would be very, very cold for the middle part of the spring. So we're starting off at around 10 degrees Celsius at Walsall at the moment. We're going to be seeing the temperatures sticking at that sort of level for a few days, but then we find as we go into next week, again, evidence of a cooling trend, going really quite cold, possibly maxima of around 5 degrees or lower by the time we get through to Easter, with some quite significant night frost as well, going underneath freezing. Then maybe just a few signs that we start to lift temperatures up a little bit as we go through this first week of April. That's a very long way off, and I don't think we should take that too seriously. And even then, there are several ensemble members that are still frosty with the nights. Temperature anomalies from the 22nd of March through to the 30th are looking like that, coming out colder than average through all parts of Europe. The British Isles is included in that. You'll notice down in the very far southeast, possibly signs, but it's trying to get a bit warmer over towards Turkey, and we may start to import a little bit of that in towards Greece, perhaps by the time you get through to Easter. But really for the next week anyway, certainly from the 22nd through to 30th of March, all parts of Europe pretty much coming out colder than average. Precipitation anomalies look like that. Not a big deviation, but for the UK, for England and Wales anyway, it's a little bit drier than average. For Scotland and Northern Ireland, it's close to or a little bit above average. As I say, it's not a big deviation. It's really the temperature, I think, that's going to be the talking point next week. So this is how the GFS is looking for Monday, when we've got low pressure waiting in the wings to head in from off the Atlantic. That turns us unsettled through the early part of next week. So cloud, wind and rain heading in from off the Atlantic. At least early next week, the temperatures will be holding up somewhat. But as that low pressure clears through on Wednesday, that's when we start to potentially bring down much colder air from the north and the northeast as well. So that takes us to next Thursday, a week away, Maundy Thursday, when we're in a cold north to northeasterly flow. There's the high pressure out to the northwest of the British Isles. We've got the trough over towards the east, and again we're bringing down these cold winds from the north and from the northeast. Well, this low pressure needs to be kept an eye on. That's out to the southwest of Ireland on Thursday. If that was to run in and hit that cold air, there's going to be a weather front associated with it that might bring either heavy rain or potentially quite a bit of heavy snow. So we have to keep an eye on what's going to happen with that area of low pressure that's out in the Atlantic. There's the upper air temperatures for Thursday next week, and we see that the -10 isotherm is covering many parts of the country. That's very unusual to see that at the end of March. I mean, we get that in the winter sometimes, although over past few winters has been quite a rare visitor, even in the middle of winter. But to get that by the end of March, that is very unusual indeed. Now, this particular run of BGFS takes that area of low pressure I was talking about down towards Spain and Portugal. So it's down there and not really causing us any problems. Although we remain in this cold sort of north-northeasterly wind that could be bringing, at the very least, wintry showers by Good Friday to northern and eastern parts of the country. Probably snow showers, actually, because the upper air temperatures are still hovering close to -10 at 850 HPA. That's Easter Saturday with the high pressure kind of like toppling down over the country, keeping us cold, mostly settled. And then we start to bring low pressure down from the northwest as we go through to Easter Sunday. That's coming into cold air, so there's either rain or snow associated with that. A little bit beyond day 10. Easter Sunday was day 10. A little bit beyond day 10 to Easter Monday. We look cold still. High pressure is still sitting there to our north, and the wind is coming in from the east. So at the very least, these are cold days that we've got here over Easter. This is a cold Easter. The detail in terms of anything particularly wintry happening to be determined. It could be that it's fairly cold and dry, to be honest, and maybe just with sort of frost by night and daytime temperatures kept quite low. But there is wintry potential here, and we will have to firm up on that as well. But the broad theme, I think, is increasingly that it's looking like a cold Easter this year. This is how the GEM is looking. So again, on Tuesday we started bringing low pressure in from off the Atlantic. That could bring quite a bit of cloud and rain. It's as that low pressure clears away from the middle of next week that we begin to pull the winds back into the east and the northeast again. So we go through to the end of next week. This is Good Friday, for example, where we've got that low pressure to our south. So the GEM is placing that low pressure across northern France. Other parts of the country in this cold easterly wind, and certainly for the south, I would have thought there is a risk of some rain or snow from that area of low pressure on Good Friday. There's the upper air temperatures. They're looking cold. Maybe not quite as cold as the GFS is looking, but nevertheless, they still look pretty cold and wintry upper air temperatures. That takes us to Easter Saturday, where low pressure again is to our south and west. High pressure is blocking to the north, keeping us cold, and that takes us to day 10, which is Easter Sunday, and we're still in a mainly cold and blocked type setup. There's the upper air temperatures. They're still looking pretty dismal, ready for the first day of April. And we do see a few sort of kinks in the isobars here on this easy wind. So that's telling us it's quite an unstable wind, probably bringing in, well, I would have thought bringing in snow from the east on Easter Sunday. This is how the ECMWF is looking. So again, we start next week on a reasonably quiet note on Monday, but then low pressure heads in from off the Atlantic on Tuesday. That probably brings us quite a wet spell Tuesday to Wednesday. And then as that low pressure clears away, that's how we start to turn the winds into the north and to the east too. So that's how things are looking on Good Friday, where the low pressure is centred to our southwest. It's closer to us, so it's just off the southwest tip of Ireland. We've got the high pressure up here, so cold air is being fed in like that. And this low pressure, of course, it's trying to bring the milder winds from off the Atlantic, but there'll be a weather front associated with it, and on that front, by Good Friday, we could be seeing rain or snow in the west and the southwest of the country. And then that's how we go into Easter. This is Easter Sunday itself, day 10, Sunday the 1st of April. April Fool's Day, but there's not much to laugh about in that chart, because again we've got the high pressure out to the northwest, we've got the low pressure down to the southwest, we're bringing in a strong easterly wind, which will be quite a bitterly cold easterly wind, and there's a weather front again that's trying to introduce milder air. So somewhere around here we've got a weather front that will be marking the boundary between milder air to the south and those cold east to northeasterly winds, and that boundary could be bringing the risk of more snow, and that would be particularly for parts of England away as well. These do look unusually cold and wintry charts for Easter now, have to say. This is the snow potential from that ECMWF run from the website weather.us. If these charts continue, I expect to see more snow watches next week. We've left them off for a few days now, but expect snow watch back next week if these charts continue to show up like this. This is snow depth from weather.us based on that midnight run of the ECMWF. Bear in mind, this model does overestimate the snow depth a little bit usually, but it's a good indication of snow potential and where snow is likely to fall. So on Tuesday, any snow really is restricted to western, southwestern parts of Scotland. Let's get through to Wednesday. And, well, snow is piling up across Scotland. So even by the middle of next week, could be a very snowy scene up in the north. Elsewhere, not much snow going on. We'll shift through to another 24 hours. This takes us to Thursday. Maundy Thursday brings a risk of snow down towards parts of northern England, maybe North Wales. Elsewhere, there is a suggestion that there might be some wintry showers going on. Nothing too bad up to a week away. This goes to Good Friday. Again, you'll notice that it really is in the north up to Good Friday, but we have the risk of snow cover. A little bit for Northern Ireland. And these grey areas, they're just where there could be sort of snow showers, I think, across parts of the Midlands and East England. Remember, by this point, the wind is back into the east. That's likely to be starting to bring snow showers back in from off the North Sea. Let's carry on through to Easter Saturday. And look at that, we start then to bring some snow in across England and Wales. We can't run on much further than that. Let's go a little bit further into Saturday. And we see that there is the risk there across parts of Southern Ireland, England and Wales of getting some snow. It's not being forecast at this stage to be particularly deep snow, but it's happening because there's a weather front that's associated with this area of low pressure. This is the synoptic chart by time we get through sort of Saturday to Sunday. There's a weather front that's going to be in that sort of position. It's trying to bring the milder air up from the south, but it's running into this cold air from the northeast. And so there is a risk, obviously, for England and Wales of snow through the course of Easter Saturday to Easter Sunday. The detail will have to be determined on it. It's a long way off, but even by the time you get through the start of April, it is not too late to get snowfall and snow cover across parts of the British Isles. If all that wasn't enough, the CFS V2 is increasingly moving towards a chance of a cold April. Now, the Gasworthy spring forecast is expecting April to revert to a milder, more typical type setup. But the modelling at the moment is all going one way, and it looks like it's going towards maintaining cold conditions. So this is the 700 millibar height anomaly that CFS is currently forecasting for April, with below average heights to our south and southeast, and a suggestion of some blocking close to Iceland and Greenland. Very similar to the 500 millibar height anomaly that we started with for today's video from the Penn State University website. And it leaves us doing something like that with the flow and with the jet stream. We're placed on the cold side of the jet stream, and it's quite unsettled. And so therefore, these are the temperature anomalies that the CFS V2 currently predicting for April. And they're coming out not just for the UK, but for many central, northern and western parts of the country, of Europe, I should say, of the continent. They are coming out really quite significantly colder than average. So we've had a colder than average February. We're definitely going to have a colder than average March, that's certain. And it looks like, if this is right, we may get a third month that is colder than average, which is, I don't think we've seen that since 2013. I don't think we have 3 months in succession since cold on average since 2013. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't think we've had 3 months back to back that were colder than average. Of course, in 2013, I think it's actually 5 or 6 months. It was more or less January through to June in 2013. that was colder than average. So I think you're just going to watch this space. The Gaz Weather Spring forecast suggested that after that cold and blocked March, we should revert back to a more westerly pattern. But there's never any guarantees with long-range forecasting. Equally, there's no guarantee that these models are correct either. So I think on April, just a case of watch this space. It's certainly going to be a cold start to the month. Hopefully, we'll get some moderation as the month goes along, and we'll start to find the Azores high getting its act together, if you like. There's no guarantee that that will be the case, but fingers crossed that might be what happens. But certainly going to have a cold start to April. I think we can say that, and that's covering, of course, the Easter period. So another dose coming up next week. There's no sign of a switch to genuine spring conditions at the moment. We'll keep looking for them, but for the time being, we're back to talking about frost and ice, potentially snow as well next week, and focusing around the Easter period. And the third Easter update will be coming up for you at Gaz Weather Vids this evening, so come back for that then. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.